Okay. Hi, everyone who isn't with us on the call. We will be recording this session so that you are able to listen back and pick up on any of the information that we are sharing today. Okay. So tonight, what we're going to be doing is trying to get to know all of you. Like I said, you all have been in class together, but it's our turn to introduce ourselves and get to know each of you a little bit better as we jump into a new course, as we consider this our summer one term, even though it's May, and I know we're not quite at summer yet. Tonight, we will be introducing the course and the materials and talking about what is in your course shells on Canvas. We will jump right into our topic, which is differentiated instruction and CTE. We'll have a breakout session where we will try to break you into two rooms. One, those of you that are assigned to my course section, and the other two course sections that are assigned to Mr. Rich. And then we'll discuss expectations and what you will be doing for your course assignment before next week, and then answer any questions that you might have. All right, we've got one more friend coming in, so hold on, let me admit him. Okay. Okay, so introductions. Mr. Rich already gave a nice introduction. Just like in your previous courses, you I know that you were assigned to either one of our adjunct instructors who are directors from one of our local CTCs across Pennsylvania, or one of our faculty members here at Point Park. So I have had the pleasure of working alongside Mr. Rich in developing this course. Like I said, my name is Dr. Jenny Chambers. I'm currently serving as the interim dean in the School of Education at Point Park. We are absolutely thrilled to be embarking on the programs within the Career and Technical Education certification. So we just launched the programs, as you know, in January. You are all part of our pioneers in this at Point Park, and we are really excited about what we have created in terms of our Instructional 1 certification and now our Instructional 2 certification pathways for all of you. And just like Mr. Rich said, we are doing this in a joint model where I'm coming from the landscape of K-12 education, and I've been in education my entire career, and so really bringing kind of the tricks and tools that I know from pedagogy and education and higher ed, and then Mr. Rich bringing in the expertise from the career and tech world. And so our focus tonight is to introduce you to our course and set you up for success so that you know what our expectations are, but you will see that the structure of the course and how the modules are set up should look very similar to what you've had in your two previous courses. And then, of course, our expectations are going to be very similar to what you've been experiencing during your first two courses. If at any point you have questions, feel free to either shout out, raise your hand, or put it in the chat box. We will try to monitor that and address any questions that you might have as we go through. If you have just joined us, please make sure you put your name and your location in the chat so that we can keep track of who's here. All right, so like I said, our course structure is going to look very similar to what you have seen in your first two courses in terms of how Canvas is designed and how our course is laid out online. So we have 8 modules that are all open already on Canvas. I've been, at least in my course section, I've been in contact with a few of you already, kind of looking at your personal and professional schedules and looking at what's expected in the course and asking if you can work ahead. You absolutely can work ahead in this course because, you know, we value that you are a working professional and doing this on top of your day job. And so we want to make sure that you have the capability to work in a schedule that works for you. However, just know that we also believe, especially in the online environment, that timely and consistent feedback is necessary to your success and your development and your progress. But we will start with any work that is submitted for for example, this week, Module 1. We will start by reviewing and providing feedback for Module 1. And then as we get through the modules, we will provide consistent feedback for whichever module we're in. So if you are working ahead and that's what works for your schedule, just know that the feedback in future modules will come on a timely basis based on the module that we're working within. And just like in your previous courses, the weekly structure, you will have a variety of readings and or videos to review to explore the content for the week. Each week, you'll have in your module, you'll have a list of objectives that we try to meet. You'll have readings and videos to help you explore those topics that are focused around the objectives, the essential questions, and the big ideas. You will have weekly assignments, and then similar to your 2 previous courses, if you join us on our weekly sessions on Mondays, you will not need to complete the journal reflection. If that week you're not able to join us, no problem. You will have a journal reflection that you will be asked to do. That is not a, and this week there is no journal if you're not on the call. However, for all the weeks moving forward, if you join the Monday session, you don't have to complete the journal. But if you don't, then that'll be an additional assignment. So, and I know that was structured that way for your first 2 courses. Any questions, anything that I can answer for the structure? This should look very familiar, and it follows the same protocol as your previous courses.
Hi, Jenny. This is Danielle Adamson.
Hi.
I'm just asking real quick because I know that a whole bunch of us had talked about it last class. Is there any chances of changing this time back to 3:30 from the original, or will it always be 4?
We certainly, Mr. Rich and I can talk about that. You know, so I understand that perhaps maybe your first course that was a 3:30 and a 4:30 time, and then your second course went back to 3:30. Is that correct?
The first course was 3:30 to 4:30, and the second course was 4.
Okay, right. So we were trying to, you know, meet somewhere where we knew that you had already had that time. We certainly can, you know, take the majority, but you know, I think with our numbers, we probably aren't going to be able to get a time that works for everybody. But if you if you feel strongly about the 3:30 time, I don't know, Mr. Rich, we haven't talked about that. If that's something that you're able to.
I don't know whose class list she's on, but between the 2 other sections, I'd be happy to put out some type of Google survey or doodle poll or something. And yes, there's no way with 3 sections of this class. Yeah, like 4 would work best. I'm not able to work till 4. So someone just put in the chat. So, you know, I would leave it at 4 right now with the understanding we could put something out for an alternative time, and perhaps you know, with the 2 sections, the idea is that Jenny will do her 1 section in 1 meeting, then I'm going to have 1 meeting for the 2 sections. You know, that doesn't mean that we can't alternate, or you know. So I just guess I'm going to say, you know, right now that it's under consideration.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point, Len, that we can, you know, we have 3 sections, 2 instructors, 3 sections. So we could be, you know, we want to be flexible and meet your needs as best as we can. Obviously, we kind of have to go with majority, but we could have one of the sections virtual session on at 3:30, and you know, which you would try to be at the session that you're assigned to. So if you're assigned to my section, you would try to be at my section, and same with Mr. Rich's. But if for that week you couldn't get on at that time, we could share the Zoom link, and perhaps you could be on in the other section, and that would count. I would be fine working with you. So Danielle, in other words, we will to be determined, but certainly happy to consider if 3:30 works for the majority. Happy to consider that. And then it also could be something where the first 4 weeks we do 4 o'clock, and then the last 4 weeks we do 3:30 to try to catch everybody at least half the time. So.
Well, and that's a good point too, because some of us, I would say after Memorial Day, if you will, after Memorial Day, we may be looking at changes in schedules as well. You know, once everybody is free and clear of their school obligations, you know, I'm not opposed to an 8 or a 9 a.m. meeting, which we would have the flexibility to do. in the summer. So 4 for now, and
Okay.
more to come.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up, Daniel. Any other questions about, I know most of you have been in the Canvas shell and you're probably pretty savvy with it now, having gone through 2 courses, but any other questions about the format, the structure? Expectations for that. All right. This is just in Canvas, you can see obviously all of the content, all of the modules are open, and then the syllabus is also listed. This is taken right out of our syllabus. It outlines the different assignments that are associated with this course. I like to share just a quick overview of this is kind of a roadmap of what you will be doing. However, I caution don't look at this and get overwhelmed, because this is we break it down week by week. And we do it in a way that we hope that we can prepare you for what the expectations are for each of the assignments. And then we are operating on a progress monitoring approach where you submit, and if you meet the expectations, great. If there's areas that we think you can improve upon, we allow you to resubmit until you get to the point where you have shown mastery or competency or met our expectations for the assignment. So you will see on a couple of the assignments where it says draft and then it says final, because we want to give you that first week to submit a draft to make sure you're on the right path towards what we're looking for the assignment. And then the second, for some of the assignments, you'll have that second week to finalize and edit and revise and then submit your final. Colleen, it looks like your hand's up.
Yeah, just quick question, because it says reflection 1, and then it says weekly journals 2 through 8. But when you look at it, the way that it's written on module 1, it says reflective journal 25 points, and then reflective journal 10 points, reflective journal 10 points, 10 points, 10 points. So my question is, this first reflective journal, that's not today's meeting, right? We have to write something,
That's something different, yes. So
but it's named the same thing.
it's a reflection 1, yes. So I would worry, so that so what's written right here are the all of the assignments, how they were laid out in the syllabus in Canvas. I believe we maybe inadvertently put reflective journal, but it's reflection 1. So when you go into module 1 in Canvas, you'll see it'll say discussion board 1 and reflection 1, and that's all that you need to do for this week, or those 2 things.
Okay, thanks.
So I apologize for that. The journal, I can see adding the journal term in there could be confusing. I apologize for that.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, then we have to write this journal entry for the first week, right?
Yes,
Right.
it's not,
it,
it's different than, like I said, it's not in a reflection based on what we're sharing today. It's based off of the week 1 materials. Does that make
Got
sense?
it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, the number of, so the weekly journals for when you are in person or in attendance for the virtual sessions, that's where it says modules 2 to 8. But for the first week, we want everyone to do discussion board 1 and the reflection 1. And then there's no journal for week 1. And then, like I was talking about, the drafts and the final. When we get into the case study, at first there will be the draft submission, and then the following week will be the final. So we have it embedded in here to allow you to work through your ideas, get some feedback that first week, and then the following week you submit the final based on the feedback that you've received. All right. Mr. Rich, do you want to talk about
Sure.
differentiated instruction, what the course is all about?
Yes. So, and I can't wait till we get into what it is and was it what it isn't, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there. But differentiated instruction is, how are we meeting the students where they are through our techniques, strategies, and practices that we will use to adapt and then implement. Can you go back one for a moment, please?
Sorry
But
about
understand that differentiation is not dumbing down. You know, the example I use, we're in Lawrence County. Okay. Everybody knows Erie is to the north. I can take I-79 or I can take 19, but they both go to Erie. You know, so I like the term effective teaching. So you can teach, it doesn't mean that it's effective. So if we're going to add that adjective or adverb to the teaching, effective teaching focuses on different instructional pathways students have to demonstrate competency. And I want you to think of your own experiences. How did you learn? Was it typical, non-typical? Did it depend on the content matter? You know, all of those things in your own learning experiences are going to come into your instructional practices. We all start as instructors as to where we were as learners. For example, I was a history major. I loved lecture. I might be strange, but out of 12 history courses in college as an undergrad, I took the same professor 8 times. I sat in the front row, I sat in the middle, and I wrote for an hour and a half, or I wrote for an hour because I was an auditory learner. But I know I had friends in class, they were dying. Like, how do you do this? So again, we're all going to, and then as a teacher, I started out lecturing, and then I had to go and learn different ways to do things. So again, if you want to be effective, we're going to focus on different pathways to allow kids to be successful. All right. So in terms of instructional practice, and think about this, when you come in to this course, when you hear the term differentiated instruction, and one of the very weird things about being a CTE teacher, so before I taught my first class, right, I had 4 years of college. I had a semester of student teaching. My sophomore year, I had multiple field experiences. You know, when I hired a health assistant teacher, I happened to be an assistant football coach at the time, and he was a trainer and a registered nurse. And I looked at him, I said, "You want to teach?" And, you know, within a couple of days, he went from wrapping ankles to teaching health assistant and working at the hospital. So, you know, you have no preparation, and then we throw you in with 20, 25 maybe per section, and we say, all right, now you have no experience, but go teach them all. And oh, by the way, they may not learn in traditional ways. So in terms of instructional practice, what does it mean to you? And we're going to talk about this in the breakout rooms, and why is differentiation necessary?
All right. So for the breakout room, so here I'm gonna stop sharing for just a second because I was trying to do the breakout rooms, but since not everybody's screen name matches the your name listed on on the roster, what I'm going to ask, if you're not assigned, which it's going to be quite a few of you, if you are in my section, so in Chambers as your instructor, you're going to go to the Chambers breakout room. If you're in Mr. Rich's sections, either section, you're going to go into his breakouts. We're going to try to separate here by section. And like I said, since a number of the screen names weren't the exact same as my class list, we're going to try that. I'm going to open the room. So some of you are going to automatically be assigned, but if you're not, you're going to either go to Chambers or Rich. And if you're not sure which section you're in, which is perfectly fine, you can just hang out here and I'll tell you which one which section you should go to, either mine or Mr. Rich's. So I'm going to open this and we're going to do a breakout. Mr. Rich, let's do the breakout for, let's do it for like 15 minutes. We'll come back by like 4:41-ish. Does that work? Okay.
Yep.
All right, so I'm opening the rooms.
Driving, and I may need to put me into a breakout.
I sure can, yes.
I'm Eric. I didn't see anything for me to click to switch over.
Okay, Eric, hold on.
Okay. So here you are.
Oh, got it.
I'm William Barber. I didn't get one either.
Me neither. I'm Colleen Kriebel.
I didn't get one either.
Oh my
I-
goodness.
Yeah, me neither. And I think I should be in Mr. Rich's.
Okay, if you could, yeah, hold on. I'm trying to go through my list. Sorry about that, guys.
Erica Scott, and I didn't get one either.
Yeah, I see you guys. Okay.
Probably easier for you to pull out 1/3 than to push 2/3.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Yep. All right. And if you, Colby, you're with me. Okay.
This is Kathy. I'm with you as well.
Kathy, thanks. We're getting there. So, Mr. Rich, let's make it 4:45 by the time I get through this.
Okay.
All right. Danielle, you're with me.
Ooh.
Kathy, you're with Chambers. We're getting there. Abel, Rich. Kevin Lear. I believe, Kevin, you're with Mr. Rich. Yep. Cody. I think Mr. Rich. Last few. Darius, let's see. Sean, did I not get you?
I must have popped out on accident. I'm sorry.
No, you know where you're going? Back to Rich breakout?
Yeah, let me see if it pops up for me. Yep, there it is.
Okay. And same with Darius, you're with Mr. Rich?
Yes, you can't hear me.
Oh,
I
okay.
am, but I can't get there.
Okay, I just want to make sure you know what you're doing. Okay, we'll see you back in about 15 minutes.
It keeps going away.
It keeps going away.
Yeah, I can't get there.
All right, let me see if I can.
I think I lost service at one point and it just kept saying preparing meeting, preparing meeting.
Oh, here, you know what? It says not joined. Huh.
That's because I think it kicked me out and I now tried to get back in.
Oh,
When I was, because I live an hour away from where I live.
okay.
So to get the meeting in at 4 o'clock, I still have to drive, whether it's 3:30 or 4 o'clock.
It does, oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay, but I can't stay at the school till like 5 because I have a salon also,
Right.
and I've got to start it right away. So
You want to just come into my breakout since I have you
Sure.
down? Okay.
if you can put me there, that'd be fine. I know a
I'll
lot
put
of
you in mine
there.
and I'll let Mr. Rich know that you're with me. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Did you get it? Did you see it? beat the other group. Was there somebody saying, was one of the students saying she didn't see the breakout leave the meeting? I can go back in. All right, our group's coming back.
I think we were all afraid to hit the leave button at first.
Right. It's the little guy walking out the door, but the options: leave the meeting, leave the breakout room. Yeah.
On my phone, because I'm driving, it was just a regular, it says leave, but it was a blue button instead of red. So it was, and then once you clicked it, it said leave breakout room.
Right, right. So I think this is most of our, oh, we've got some of, let me see who else is in. I can close the rooms too, but that's always just so abrupt if the other group is,
You're missing Darius.
yeah.
They used to put a timer on it to give us like a 3-minute warning, and then it would automatically close us out.
Close it out. Yeah, and that's something that we can do if we're not, if the instructors aren't in the room. Yeah. Is use the timer so that you can make sure everybody comes in. So I will. Let's see. Is Darius back? No, almost everybody from ours. All right, so I'm gonna close all rooms so that our whole group can come back with us. They should all be coming back in just a second. They come. All right, how'd the breakout room go, Mr. Rich?
We don't like social studies teachers who lecture. No, it went pretty well. You know, I think that we've discovered a few things about what differentiated is and what it isn't. Anybody from my group care to answer how it went or anything that grabbed you from the discussion?
I can speak
She's
on
going to
it.
keep you on for 11 minutes.
I
So
have
somebody better
something
say.
for you.
Something.
Go ahead,
So
Colleen.
I took something really good out of it, and I wonder if there's a little more you could share with us, like this pre-assessment, this day one pre-assessment advice, interest inventory, learning profile. What are some things that we can ask in that type of a survey? Like even if it's a Google survey, I think this is a great idea, but like what?
All right. So how about it? I would say the following. It depends upon what you're looking for. Okay. So if you are looking for, let's say, learning profiles, okay, you want to know how your students learn. Well, then push out a little Google form, right? I am, and underneath it, auditory learner, meaning I hear it, right? You're going to have to explain these terms to them. Kinesthetic learner, I like to work with my hands. Visual learner, I need to see it. D, all of the above or combination of, right? So you if you're learning how the students learn, if you're talking about their readiness profiles, what do you teach?
I teach baking and pastry arts.
Okay, so I would have a statement that said, I feel I am very comfortable with the content, and I would say agree, somewhat agree, neutral, somewhat disagree, disagree. So you get an understanding of where these kids are coming from as far as a readiness level, and then you can state something at the beginning of the year like, when I am not in school, I like to, and leave that one open-ended and see what perhaps they like that you can tie into their learning. You're going to be disappointed that 75% of them are going to say video games, but if you want to Google, and you're going to come across some of these materials, but if you want to Google Carol Ann Tomlinson and those three things, readiness profiles, interest inventories, and learning profiles, that can help. And then also you can expand that pre-assessment on, I think it was Cody. Okay, what's a 101 for a sophomore in auto mechanics? You know, so you can look to some of those things as so you can have content pre-assessment and then pre-assessment relative to the learner.
Thank you.
James, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I don't remember now. It's you started talking and I was zoned into what you were saying. Now I forgot what.
So one thing about this course, I think you're going to find that it really builds on what you learned in the previous course on classroom management, because a lot of this stems from at the core of really getting to know your students and building that rapport and that relationship with your students, so you know who they are, what their interests are, how they learn best. And that's, you know, that the interest inventory or the pre-assessment, that all builds kind of that classroom culture and getting to know the students, so that you can meet their needs, and do it in a way that is engaging and enjoyable for the students. Mr. Rich was talking about different types of learners. So for those of you that are visual learners, I just wanted to, for these last few minutes, jump onto Canvas and just to share you the first module, because I know, like, for example, Colleen brought up the difference in, there's not a journal this week, but it's a reflection, just so that everybody is aware of what is expected for this week. So I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me here. All right, so on Canvas, our Canvas sites look the same, whether you're in my section or in Mr. Rich's section, but this is the week that we're in Module 1. So it's our introduction to differentiated instruction. So today we just did an overview, talked about what it is, what are some common misconceptions, and we're going to do kind of a deep dive each week into different elements of differentiated instruction and how it relates back to your own practice in your own classrooms. For every module, you're going to have an overview. The overview will provide you with the objectives and roadmap of what to do, where to go for the learning materials. This is where you will click, and the objectives, the big ideas, essential questions, and then any readings and any videos that are related back to those objectives will be listed under the learning materials. The activities, this is what is expected of you for the week. First is the Module 1 discussion. So that's your introductory discussion board. It's a way for Mr. Rich and I to really get to know each and every one of you. Since you have been in class together, we don't know you yet, but the discussion boards really allow us to tap into who you are, what your experiences are, and your perspectives, bringing it into in relationship to the course content. This is just to clarify, everybody is doing, even if you are here tonight, everyone's doing the reflective journal. Again, this just gives us a chance to really get to know where you're coming from when we're thinking of differentiated instruction, what your own practices have been, your own perspective. And so it's just an opportunity for you to reflect on what the discussion that we started tonight. Everyone is expected to do Module 1 discussion and Module 1 reflective journal. And then each module has a wrap up, which just summarizes what was shared, what the goals were for the assignments, and getting you ready for the next week. Each module is opened, so you can go ahead and review future content, but each weekly session we will be setting you up for success, going over what is expected for that week, and then also doing a small activity. Mr. Rich, that my group shared that they weren't used to having the instructors in the breakout rooms, and I said, well, we decided to join you in the breakout rooms tonight, but we will follow up with, like I said, like we talked about, a poll for potential times, and then structure, so that we might be in separate virtual sessions depending on your availability and your course, if you're attached to me or to Mr. Rich. Any questions about what's expected for this week? Anything we can answer in the last 4 minutes?
If we work ahead, will they be graded ahead?
So that's a great question. It is our goal, no, not our goal. We will be providing timely feedback on, for example, this week, Module 1, you'll have all of your assignments graded. I like to have my assignments feedback given to the students by Tuesday. I'm not quite sure, Mr. Rich, what your timeline is, but assignments will be submitted by Sunday. So I like to have everything back to you within 48 hours. It keeps me on track and it gives you an opportunity to get feedback in a timely manner. So
I'm not on summer yet. You might have to give me a couple more days after Tuesday.
Some of us have already turned in the module one to skip.
Right, right. So if you've already turned in, if you turn in ahead of time, like I said, I base it off of when the due date is, right? So when the due date is, you will definitely get it back, if not before, but 48 hours after it's due. So if you
All
are
right.
working ahead in modules, just know that you might not get the feedback within 48 hours. So if that makes sense, it's 48 hours of when the due date is.
And there's no sense working ahead.
Oh, well, you can work ahead to get based off of your own schedule. And we will go in and provide feedback as much as we can. But if you are submitting, 5 assignments at once, we're trying to give feedback to all of the assignments within the module that we're in. Does that make
Be out of
sense?
your hair in a
First,
minute.
any other questions about expectations, course assignments? All right, well, it was nice seeing all of you on this call. Oh yeah, Chad, you had a question?
I just had one quick question. I know, just looking ahead, I seen that there's a video assignment, I think, where we're teaching a lesson.
Yes,
Is that something we're just gonna be teaching to like an empty room? Only because we only have a couple more weeks of students, so I wanted to make sure we weren't doing like a live lesson with students and then school's over and that's when that came up.
right. So that can be handled one of two ways. You can do it ahead of time, and you can do it in an actual lesson with students, or it can be a mock lesson that you have the camera just on you. So
For
depending on,
those on my class list, I'd like you by, once we get moving and grooving on this, I think by the end of May, you should be able to have a real lesson in front of kids. And, if kids aren't signed off relative to they can be filmed or not be filmed, then obviously you can't put them in that lesson.
I think I'm probably one of the only people. I don't actually teach yet. I don't have a classroom, so would
Sounds
I
like you're
just?
gonna do a mock
I
lesson.
mean, I've yeah, I've worked at Central Westmoreland for 6 years, but I work as their nurse, the first aid nurse. So I do, at one point I did help down in health occupations, and that's the goal, is for me to become an additional teacher down there. But I do not have a classroom.
yeah, so yours will just be a mock lesson then, Kathy. That's no problem. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you want to see us like in the kitchen or doing our lecture?
That's up to you. It depends on what lesson you're teaching. If you're doing an intro, if you're doing modeling, depending on what the topic and the content.
So I just entered my school's under renovation, and we just entered, like, the bakery finally just entered the renovation. So I'm actually in like every day I go in and they're like, oh, you're over here, or you're over there, or you're over there. Is that okay? Because I really like, every day I'm in a different spot and I have no idea what's actually happening. And we want, like, the bakery is completely shut down as well.
Yes, it's fine. I mean, obviously that's you can only work with what you have. It might be, good to make note of that in your comments section, that you're not in your typical
Sure. Yeah.
teaching space. Yeah, but absolutely no problem.
And again, if anybody has any mitigating circumstances, you can email myself, you can email Ginny. We'll be happy to answer any mitigating circumstances any individual might have.
Absolutely. That's a good point. We have a structure in place. We have the due dates in place, but life happens, and, we can only help you if we know that if you reach out to us. So so if something comes up and you're not able to complete something or you need a little bit of extra time, just communication is key here. We will be communicating with you weekly, multiple times a week, giving feedback, all of that. So we expect the same. You have our emails, and for me, the email is the best way to get in touch. There is the general questions on Canvas, but if you really need me to see something and answer it right away, my email is the best way. And probably Mr. Rich, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be checking my Point Park email just to keep it consistent. And I saw on the slideshow, I forgot to put it. It's Leonard, LEONARD .rich, RICH @pointpark.edu.
And if you click on our names, the little envelope comes up on Canvas, so you should be able to email us directly right from that. All right, well, we are 3 minutes over, and I apologize that we'll try not to let that happen again, but we really appreciate you all joining us tonight. It's nice seeing all of you. We look forward to the next 8 weeks as we explore differentiated instructional practices. And I look forward to, jumping into the Canvas shell and reading all about who you are and your experiences as we enjoy these next 8 weeks together. So we'll see you next week on May 12th. Time to be determined. We'll send out a poll, but
I'm going to stay at 4 for next week. Definitely 4 for next week on
okay.
August.
For yours. Okay. All right. My group will
Okay.
send out a poll. All right. Thanks, everybody. And I will post this recording and as well as the PowerPoint, so you'll have access to that. Have a great week.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you guys next week.
See you next week.